All right, so as you can tell, I'm out here on the lake. It's a beautiful day. One of the things I was interested in seeing is, since this thing is watertight and supposed to be airtight, at least according to them, or pretty airtight, I was wondering if it would float. I also figured I'd do a little capacity shoot at the moment as well. I took the carabiners off because I'm about to dunk it in, metal, and don't want it to, there's no sense in getting them wet if I don't have to. Anyways, this is 10 pounds of ice that I just put in not too long ago. The puppy is tripping over my guy lines at the moment. And about a 6-pack of beer of a couple different varieties, and bottles, cans. And down there I also have fruits and whatever else my wife ended up packing. I'm getting a little, I guess I'm not getting any melt. Anyways, the zipper being welded is actually pretty difficult to open and close one-handed, which is a good thing, I guess, from the perspective it'll be airtight and watertight. It's a bad thing from using. So anyways, let's go ahead and put this thing in the water and see what it does. So, I mean, all things considered, 10 pounds of ice and 6-pack of beer and some fruit and whatever else we got in there. I mean, that's a Wrangler. Get away, that's not yours. That's actually a pretty nice feature to have. So, fact of the matter is, if you guys boat like I do, and whether it's kayaking or, out here on the pontoon or canoeing or whatever the case may be, I mean, the fact that this thing floats pretty well, even loaded down with about 15 pounds of junk right now, that's pretty solid. And it also speaks to, the fact that those zippers are doing their job and keeping the water out and in, from a perspective of being waterproof from the inside and water leaking out. So anyways, definitely an interesting feature, one I was interested to test, and I mean, hey, bonus. Another thing I noted real quick is I just had this thing submerged in the water, and the material is, not only is it waterproof, but it's actually pretty water repellent. I don't know if this thing has a DWR, like a durable water repellent coating on it, or if it's just the material. But as you can see here, the water is beating up on the surface, and you just kind of wipe it and it goes away, and it doesn't saturate the surface out here. It's almost kind of like a marine grade vinyl. I don't know exactly what this is made out of, but anyways, it's a very soft touch to it, but it's not holding the water, which is huge, because I mean, obviously this thing is going to see outdoor use a lot, for at least those of us who are using it for its purpose. And the fact that shows that is, sorry, my American flag's getting in my video, is going to really make sure that it doesn't mold. I mean, that's a huge thing with me. You always see these coolers that you actually use, you take it out, they get wet at a camping trip or on your boat or whatever, and then the exterior starts molding. And I mean, it would be frustrating to see a $125 cooler start molding. So that's actually a huge sign for me. The thing is made out of quality and should last for a while without doing that. Here's another quick add-on I wanted to note. I actually got this from another review, and I thought it was very interesting, especially for those of you with girlfriends or wives. These actually fit a standard size bottle of wine laying in the bottom horizontally, and in terms of width, looks like about 3 wide. This is obviously my wife's cider here. It's not the same size, but it's pretty large. We have another bottle I put in there. So in terms of carrying wine or something to a concert or a picnic or just out on the boat, this would actually be a really solid option, because it is the perfect width. Now, you cannot stand it straight up, but you can do it horizontally, 3 of them, and then you could kind of turn this into like a little wine carafe thing sitting over there. I mean, it's kind of the perfect height. You're not going to get any, you have some ice in there and the thing's not going anywhere. So anyways, I'm sure the wives will love that, and it's definitely something that's interesting to note, because you don't see a lot of coolers with this dimension that's quite so perfect for that. Alright, this is the last installment of my review of the Rtic Softpak 30 soft cooler. So what I've done here, it's been about 48 hours since I initially put 10 pounds of ice in this warm, and some cold beers and fruit and stuff like that. I've taken it out on the boat. It's been back of the 4Runner here.
sitting on my porch, sitting in the shade, sitting in the sun. So I mean, it's gone through a pretty normal weekend. Definitely not our hottest weekend down here in Georgia. Highs of about 85, where we've been getting 95 to 100. So obviously, you know, things would be different in different capacities. So take that, you know, as it is. What I've done here is I sat it over here upside down for about 2 or 3 minutes to see what would happen from a leaking perspective, see how waterproof it was. Obviously, you can tell I got some water coming out. It is what it is. You know, at the end of the day, this thing is a soft shell cooler. It has a seam here, you know, with this welded zipper that obviously can't be closed permanently. And while welded zippers are great, they're about one of the best zippers you can use for this purpose. They are not 100% waterproof in all capacities. So, I mean, just, it is what it is. I wouldn't just leave this thing sitting upside down for an extended period of time if I knew I had, you know, melt in there. It just wouldn't make sense. Don't throw it in the back of your, you know, truck and let it fall wherever it falls. You know, but as long as you keep this thing upright, those zippers are going to prevent anything coming out when you're just taking it out of your truck or taking it out of your car or throwing it over your back, or if it tips over, you know, stuff like that. I mean, you know, it's pretty hot out here, and it's starting to evaporate already, but you know, there was a decent bit of water there. At the end of the day, though, I think it was acceptable. I'm not in any way, shape, or form annoyed with the fact that some water came out. I kind of expected it, especially since that's a lot of water pressure. I mean, I'm sure, let's open it up. Yeah, that's all water now, and you know, it's just sitting on those seams, so not too much came out. Anyways, as you can see here, I have 0 ice left. This thing has been in my car since, you know, I guess for the past 30 hours now. So obviously that's going to be hotter than normal. You know, at the end of the day, this is a kind of a day pack type cooler, I would say, more so than I have the Rtic 45 quart hard roto molded, and that obviously I can leave ice in for much longer. If you are expecting to buy this thing and go out into the wilderness for 5 days, as this being your only cooler, you're not gonna have ice unless it's winter. This is something you take on the boat for a day or two. This is something you you know, take to a concert. This is something you take, you know, picnicking or on a rock climbing trip, and where you're going back to base camp, and you may have a roto molded cooler with ice there that you can refill it. This is not a hard shell roto molded cooler, and it's not going to have the same capacity. Your max, I mean, realistically, on a fall spring day or weekend, you're looking at a max of 48 hours, unless you keep this thing under control with temperature and out of the sunlight. So I would expect a day, 2 days max out of ice in this bad boy. Now that being said, the water is really damn cold. So I mean, you know, it's done its job keeping everything cold. In any other soft shell cooler I know about, this water would be hot. So I mean, it's probably, you know, the best you're gonna get out of a soft shell cooler. All the other things I put together, you know, overall I'm happy with this. I'm gonna keep it. It kind of blew my expectations away in some areas. I wish it held ice longer, but you know, I'm a realist. So at the end of the day, I knew what this thing was going into it, and I you know, some people I've read have crazy unrealistic expectations about this thing holding ice for 5 days. That's just not what it is. It's not. It doesn't have that capacity. So just get that out of your head, or you're gonna be disappointed. But overall, nice product, held up well, a lot of cool features, and yeah, I'll be using it a lot.